Welcome back to my new player walkthrough of 1270. This is my Night Elf Druid, and in this will be part 3, which is 15 to 20. So there's nothing to it but to do it. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and do a gold check. I am at 45 gold. I am currently in Guardian spec because I figured I would give that a try, since I have gotten some gear from dungeons. It looks pretty decent, a little better than I thought, but still not too great. I'm gonna go ahead and queue up for dungeons. The queue should be pretty instant. However, it is late in the morning, so I don't know how that'll end up working. I do still like to queue up as DPS and tank, just in case. On the rare occasion you do get DPS, however, it's extremely rare. If you queue up as tank or healer, expect to get it and be happy if you get DPS. Go ahead and show a gear real quick. I have no fingers or trinkets. I'm still wearing the same weapon, head and neck. However, I do have shoulders and stuff. I would like to be a little more geared. However, I don't really get to pick the gear I get, so it's kind of just neither here nor there. I'm going to go back down here real quick and grab the experience buff. I wouldn't advise doing this if you're playing a quest and dungeon, just because 10% isn't worth running back and forth. If you can complete one quest in that time, it'll probably make up for the difference. I don't know why they just flipped me around like that. Now that I got my buff, it's time to go do some questing. One nice thing about WoW is your gear sets are reversible. Usually they do not have agility, intellect, or strength, because, or if they do, it can be flipped like intellect and agility like these hands are, or intellect and agility like the shoulders. Very rare do you find gear that is only one type specific, but it does happen. For example, the weapon has no agility or intellect, but it has usually more secondary stats, which is crit, mastery, haste, and versatility. As a tank, you tend to want, I'm not 100% sure, but while leveling, I don't think you want haste. I think you want crit, mastery, and verse. I'm not in tank spec anymore, so I can't actually show what the tank special is. Hopefully the queue doesn't take too long. On my 10 to 15 series, mixed with really long queues and losing a tank during one of the dungeons, maybe have to cut that series short, because that originally was supposed to be 10 to 20. However, I didn't want to make an extremely long video for that. I would like to keep them as close to an hour as possible in my segments. Not always going to be possible, but do the best with what you have. This is probably the one time that getting the buff and questing isn't too bad, because you don't have to go much out of the way. But even going to do that was probably a good couple minutes out of the way. I could have already done this quest and turned it in and everything. I am starting at 15, one bar in. My reputation right now with Stormwind is friendly, going to honored. I do have some of the trading or traders tender, which is the trading post currency. I haven't actually looked at it yet to see what the trading post has. That's something new they introduced into WoW. However, usually it's just cosmetic, and every now and then there will be a mount, but
How are you?
I don't
See you
think it's
around.
every month. I can't remember which mount I actually got. Let me see. Collection. It's like a pink dragon mount, I think is what it was. It'd help if I went the right way though. I can't find it right now, but yeah, it was like a pink dragon mount. It was worth getting just because I had the trading and didn't really need it for anything else. I'm never gonna say no to a mount. When playing WoW, people play for a lot of different reasons. Some people play for in-game content, which is gear. This is showing up every single dungeon. Some people play for achievements. Some people play for PvP. Just depends on what your flavor is.
Hey there. Safe travels.
Some people play to
Hello there.
transmog
Have a
collect.
good one.
There's probably some people in the game who have like 100% or close to that on the transmog, which at certain times in the game, if you start, I think it's impossible to actually get that level of transmog anymore. However, I don't know that for sure. I've never been much of a mount or transmog collector, spending 4 days waiting for a mount to spawn at the chance that I might get it just isn't something I enjoy. I don't mind running raids and stuff from time to time to try to get a mount drop because those don't take too long.
See you around. See you later.
I did queue as tank, so I will be doing this as tank. Kind of just trying to mix up the roles. Somebody gets to see all the roles, not just me playing Boomkin all the way 1 to 70. This dungeon isn't too bad. It's pretty fast. I've done most of these dungeons probably at least 10 times each, probably more. I'm actually the most worried about the Hydras doing a lot of damage to me. Something else to know is I hope that if we have anyone with a pet, that they dismissed it. I don't think I have all my... Yeah, I don't have Bark Skin. I was gonna say, I don't have all my damage reductions, which is definitely bad since at this level I have one. I have one damage reduction and one heal. Usually what I like to do when I get a little bit better gear and a little more damage reduction is pull bigger groups when I have certain damage reductions up. Like if I have a 50% damage reduction, I might pull 2 or 3 groups. If I have nothing, I might just pull one. Druids definitely have the best AoE. They have 2. I went ahead and popped my damage reduction preemptively. I am doing a decent amount of damage. I'm kind of surprised with no heirlooms. But that does show you if I had heirlooms, I would probably be topping the charts massively right now. That's the nice way of saying, hey, Druid, you're kind of slow. They did change it. Apparently you can now buff while in bear form. It used to be you would get on bear forms and lose all your rage. So that part is nice. As you can tell, our damage is a lot higher. Before, I think one person was doing the amount of damage that this healer was doing. I will say, tank is definitely probably one of the funner ones to play in the game, but you do have a lot of responsibility. Especially if you do something like Mythic Pluses, then you're kind of expected to know the dungeons, so you have to kind of watch YouTube videos and do all that fun stuff. However, when you get really good at it, everybody wants you. Like, you're one of the most demanded roles in Mythic Pluses.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
I do like the fact I'm getting a lot of the short dungeons. It kind of makes up for the really bad dungeon I got earlier. You do need to kind of watch your rage. However, at this level, I really don't have much to spend it on besides Maul. It is nice to keep one cooldown in the pocket. Usually I like to try to keep Frenzy Regeneration. That way if I do happen to get low, I can bump myself back up real quick. Or Bark Skin. Something, keep something. Don't try to use everything unless you have to. Last thing you want to do is get really low on health and have nothing to cast with it. I'm not sure if I'm going to die here or not. I guess we'll see. Put a couple heals. You do have to kind of watch jumping down there because you could pull those. I'm not too worried about Rage Regen at this level. Over time, you'll learn the dungeons and stuff. Knowing the dungeons definitely increases your speed by a lot. One thing I'm doing really bad is I should be using Mangle and I'm not. I'm just using Maul instead. I really need to get my speed boost. That's kind of slowing me down a little bit. Still haven't got too much experience. I've got about 2 bars so far. And that's the last boss right there.
I'm out of range.
I'm not going off of any build or anything either for my spec. I'm kind of just winging it. If you need build help, I would advise Icy Veins. That's what I've used over the years. When you do get feared, you do lose aggro. I did forget about that. There's so few things that fear in the game. Of course, this thing fears every 5 seconds, so. And then the second I get out, I just taunt back. Usually I would move it away from them, but I'm fairly certain we'll kill it before it does anything. Without the quest, I actually got a full level. With the quest, I got even more than that. You do have to watch it when someone clicks to re-queue. I've had people do the special queues, and if you don't random it, you get like almost nothing when it comes to experience, because most of the experience comes from you finishing the randomness. I don't mind queuing with people, however, you do not get the luck of the draw, which increases damage, healing, and health, which can increase your dungeon speed quite a bit, so that does suck on the one hand. I am running into issues of running out of places to put spells and abilities. The issue is that I can only reach so many spells. So past this, I got an instant queue though, that's nice. So I'm level 16 currently. Did I open my bag? No, I did not. Got a back. Pretty nice upgrade. This is another fast dungeon. You just gotta make sure to turn in your quest while you do it. It is risky to run straight in like this, because if the healer's not paying attention or in the right spec. However, at this level, I do kind of, like, I have all my cooldowns, so I'm kind of gonna be fine. We got a lot of damage though. This is what heirlooms look like usually. Like usually people with heirlooms are doing absurd amounts of damage. If you don't have heirlooms, it can actually be super slow. I'll go ahead and close that because I'm starting to get a lot of buffs that I don't need.
My endless agony shall be yours as well. No rest for the angry dead. Seek out a vessel and return. The end at last.
It shows that the quest is there. It's actually up here in the fountain. That's where you turn it in. The reason I do this is because there's a bunch of casters and it can be a huge pain. The easy way to take care of casters is just to line of sight them like that. Then you just turn your quest in the middle of the fountain. It's very important you turn this in because then you get a quest for the last boss. The last thing you want to do is get stunned when you're facing away because then you can't block, which can get you killed. This is a boss I pre-pot, or I pre-used the cooldown because I knew that it does a lot of damage. So I wanted to preemptively take less damage. This all comes with time, though. Get one shot by this boss once, and you'll know, hey, I better use some cooldowns.
Piece of iron.
To think you've come so far, only to perish here. I'll honor you with clean deaths. My legend begins now!
I'm not sure why that's echoing. Something to do with the game.
But
You gotta get that cardio in.
You shall pay for this treachery.
I don't think those dots can kill him. It'll be close.
Arise, my champion.
I think usually they both get like top back off though.
No grain.
Usually there's a mob that passes back and forth. Yep, there it is. You kind of have to watch it. Someone got the quest. Now you just wait. I'm going to do my talent while I'm sitting here. Well, I was going to. Can't actually see it. That's not bad, but I wouldn't take that. That's not bad either. I'll take that. For this level, having a Frenzy Rejuvenation have 2 hits means I can just use one pretty actively and then save the other.
My blade stays sharp.
The fact that we have a tank and healer didn't get an instant Q is extremely surprising. I am at level 17, almost 18, which is nice. I'm getting levels a lot faster this time because last time it took me an hour to get 4 levels, and now I'm already at 2 levels in 24 minutes of the video starting, which is pretty good. When you have to wait in a dungeon, you can just do this. Oh, no, that didn't work. Little dancing bear. Another decently easy dungeon. with some quests.
Yes.
The way you can cheese a lot of this is by picking up these, throw it. You don't have to kill these, but once you do, they'll leave you in combat the rest of the instance. This part can be very dangerous, from what I can tell. Usually those up there will get pulled. It's best that the tank don't take this for target practice, just for the fact of you die, basically.
Archers, attack! Another down! Another down! Do not relent! Another down! Do not relent! Keep firing!
When it through that hill,
Escape!
yeah, that's what happens whenever that, if you get too close. Go ahead and start spamming your AoE, that way your DPS doesn't get aggro by accident, get one tapped. If you're a good tank, usually groups will want to spam with you, especially if you're fast. Mostly because as a tank, you are the decision maker of how fast you can go. I usually base off my damage. If my damage is high, I go a lot faster because I won't take as much damage. If they're low, however, you have to go slower.
Did you hear something, lads? Ah, fresh meat for the dogs.
That's a really nice thing to have in the group. Every 10 minutes, you can basically destroy a boss pretty fast.
Release the hounds! Attack my hound!
Don't just sit there! Kill them, stupid animals! No! I bleed! But I won't die!
One of those times you kill them so fast that you gotta wait.
Stop! Obey your master!
And as tempting as it seems, do not run into those. It will kill you in one hit. Doesn't matter if you're a tank, healer, DPS, those are a one shot. As a tank, line of sight is very important. Especially if you want to double group pull, that way you can get everything in one spot and just destroy them like that. Straight to the next boss. Look at my damage. I think it's damage reduction, damage increase maybe? Oh, whoop.
Another chance to test my might.
Yeah, you gotta watch that. I didn't even realize it threw me out of spec to do my talent there. Which is pretty nice talent. It's 3% increased physical damage and armor. As a bear, you don't have much against magic, so you do kind of need to watch what you use. Like 20%, you want to keep your percentage damage reductions. The thing that kills people on this boss is he does a whirlwind and he goes around the room. However, when he does it, if he picks you up, unless they changed it, it used to be a one shot. So it would be really easy, like Blade of Light. You kind of just want to run to the edge of the room. Poor guy didn't even see it coming. Great example for a video, though. Sometimes I have seen it bug out and pick people up though when it really shouldn't.
You need more training.
Even if the healer did die, I would probably be fine here because I have Frenzy and then Bark Skin. Yeah, he's doing a lot of damage from that enrage. Oh, healer gets it. I usually let the healer res unless they need mana. Then I usually do it that way they can get mana and it's not going to slow anything down. Hopefully I don't die doing this. Disarming a druid, yeah, taking away my bare arms. It's definitely good to rotate cooldowns as you go. Helps out a lot. If you want to pull bigger groups. If you don't have cooldowns, pulling bigger groups can be an issue. To start out, I would probably put one group at a time. Once you get a little more adventurous, kind of get used to like working in cooldowns and all kinds of stuff. This is what sucks. I have no way to stop that bubble, which is like a massive damage reduction for everything in it. Usually you use a stun, just orient, something like that.
Everything must burn. None shall know that you too shall be charged to us.
Don't really have to dodge anything.
By fire.
The only reason you have to dodge that is because it kind of like makes you walk in a circle for a couple seconds. Honestly though, if you get hit by it, it doesn't do a ton of damage. One of the weakest things to most tanks is your single target damage is kind of low. So bosses, even if you're doing amazing damage, you're probably mostly doing AoE damage. So once you get to a boss, it's going to die a lot slower. Some of it's because I'm like regenerating rage so slow that I can't use Maul a bunch. I am now level 19. Got another point. Trying to decide what to use it on. Probably this damage reduction just for like a oh crap I'm about to die button. I got rebirth if the healer happens to almost die. I got my oh crap button. But nowhere to actually toggle it.
What would you ask of death? Beware.
Because of my level, I'm going to go ahead and leave the dungeon because I don't want to do another dungeon and go past level 20, which depending on what dungeon I get, it would be very easy to do. This is really big for Boomkin because it helps keep your astral power up, which is really hard to keep up on a Boomkin. I also forgot that you guys spend all your talents because why not? That's pretty nice. Make sure I don't get any spells. Swapping specs a lot. This is the one issue you kind of run into. If you get new spells, it doesn't automatically throw it on your action bar, so you have to go in and do it yourself. Be an independent druid. I don't need no game mechanics. At some point, this moonkin form will actually go on my bar up here. Who knows when? Making pretty good time. 35 minutes for 5 levels almost.
Well met.
Some of that was because I tanked.
See you
I'm
around.
pretty good at tanking. I did forget to open my boxes, which I got not too bad. When leveling, I usually just go by item level. Stats really don't matter too much. Just good to have stats.
Careful. Light bless you.
But as you can tell, the difference between my 10 or 11 through 15 technically took almost an hour. 15 to 20, which is an extra level at a higher level bracket, is looking like it's going to take 45 minutes, give or take, depending on how fast I do these quests. Kind of just shows you the difference of having someone who has tanked a lot, like I've tanked for years on WoW, versus someone who leaves or isn't maybe as fast or efficient. However, that comes with time. It honestly isn't hard to get efficient. You just got to make sure to line of sight casters so everything gets grouped up and it dies fast. You got to make sure to keep some spell cooldowns. That way, if you happen to get low, you can pop them. And that's about it. And just kind of rotate them though, but don't get too like, oh, I got to pop everything, because then you'll have nothing later. A lot of people might freak out if they get lower on health. Usually, if Frenzy Regeneration, you're fine. Bada bing, bada boo. Boar meat that is. At 20, I will be getting my travel form, which is 100%. It's the same as having a mount. Honestly, with the way this game works, you don't actually have to buy the first 3.
Hey there.
The 60%, 100%, and the 150 flying, because you get it all free as a
Safe
druid.
travels.
However, to
See
get
you
the
later.
300%, which is like 4,000 gold, you have to buy the other ones. But the other ones only cost like 300 gold total. So, I mean, in comparison, it's really not that much. I could easily afford it. I got 152 gold, and I think it's like I said, I think it's like 40 gold for the flying at level, or the 100% mount at level 20. I need to remember to actually vendor again. Something I would invest in as you're leveling would be 32 slot bags or whatever you can afford off the auction house. I think it's around 30, 32 slots, around 100 gold each. Get around level 25 and you spam some dungeons and stuff. Because I'm getting like 20 gold per dungeon now. If you look at the experience from dungeons and quests is going to be a lot more consistent. However, if you have a good group, dungeons will blow quest out of the water. But that's the issue, is you actually have to have a pretty solid group. If you find a solid group, you want to try to stay with them. Some people don't like queuing with a group because you don't get the 15% damage and stuff, which can make your run a lot faster if everybody gets 15% damage. This little star right here is the trading post that they added in, which has the cosmetics and Stormwind. I cannot conquer the hill, apparently.
You need something? Safe travels.
Got a pretty nice little jump of experience there. I can go back here, but I don't think it's going to give me much. I think this one, after I turn this in, I actually have to go over here. So once I do that, I'll actually start making my way towards Westfall, which is down here. That way I can start questing in that zone. What if I still have my Darkmoon Fair buff? Yeah, I still got 22 minutes on it. Can't remember if I said this already, but if you do die, you do lose this buff. You'll have to walk back to the Darkmoon Fair and get it. I kind of wish, since it only lasts an hour, that that didn't happen. It would be nice also if the buff was just like you go to Darkmoon Fair once during the event on a character and you keep it for the full week, because Darkmoon Fair lasts from one Sunday to the next Saturday night. So like today, Darkmoon Fair ends at 11:59. I think because it's specific, I can't remember if I'm 4 hours behind or ahead of them. I'm always really bad with time zones. So I will actually be losing it earlier or later than that. I think it's actually later.
See you around. Safe travels. Have a good one.
It can make knowing when maintenance and stuff happens too kind of suck. Yep, just as I said right here. Because if maintenance, it'll say, oh, maintenance at 7, but it's not actually at 7, it's at 10. Or a new patch launches and it does maintenance for 8 hours, but you think, oh, well, it's going to be done at 4 p.m., but it's actually done at 7 because of the maintenance or the time zone difference, because they do it Pacific time instead of Eastern. But they are a specific company because they're on, I think, over in California, I believe is where Blizzard's home based. Like BlizzCon and everything. I'm just going to run down here to this little keep, which will send me over here. I only need a bar and a half, though, so I might not turn in all the quests. That way I can kind of keep it at a 20. I did forget to sell out, but there is a repair person up here, which means I can sell out. If you see a rabbit, I didn't see anything. So I grab my quest. Wanted quests usually do, I think that's a wanted quest. Yeah, wanted hogger. Usually offer a lot more experience because they are supposed to be harder. They're not. I mean, the mob has more health, but it's usually laughable at best. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I think he's over here. Nope, it's inside the base. And I got 32 back spots. I'll be fine. I'll just go here real quick and get my armbands, kill Hogger, come back and turn in either one quest or another quest and hit 20. I'll save whatever quest is for the next video. Sometimes mobs do drop quest items, so you do need to kind of keep an eye on your bag for that reason. One thing that is nice about Boomkin is, I wish I had it on my bar, Bark Skin. Makes you take reduced damage and you can use it in Boomkin form. The only thing that sucks about tanking when you're leveling, especially if you have the Darkmoon Fair or any buff at all, if you die, you lose it. And if someone's going to die in a dungeon, it's probably going to be you. Over there is a little chest. Those chests sometimes have decent items in them. Probably not at this level, though. Higher up, you might, like in a dungeon, that might have a blue in it. If a blue's bind on equip, you do want to check the auction house for it. Honestly, in a lot of the greens in the lower levels, you might want to check the auction house for. think my thing just bugged out there for a second. Because some of that stuff for transmog sells for a lot. I also forgot that apparently you get that stuff through, or experience through opening chests, like treasures and stuff. Let's see. Probably just going to go with the healing aspect. As you can see, my fast boy deer form. The one nice thing about a druid, run past all of this. Shadow Meld, drop all combat, and now I can pull and kill my target. You also send a quest on the ground like this one. And my quest is done. I just got a speedy boy over there. Don't even have to go back to get my mount. I can just keep leveling. Next time I have a storm wind, I'll just grab the mount. Took me about 46 minutes to get 5 levels. Not too bad. I will probably just wait to turn those in though. However, I do need to go sell out my bags real quick. Westfall does have vendors. However, you do have to quest for a little bit to get to those vendors. So not a horrible idea. Just go ahead and hit up this. I usually don't keep anything. I don't really see a point. It's all old world stuff anyway. Besides like maybe a BOE blue or something, just to see if it sells for anything on the auction house.
See you around.
When logging out, it is important. Something I actually can't do in this spot, so I'd have to run back to Goldshire. If you log out and in, it's instant, and you get rested experience while you're offline. So say you don't play for a couple days, you come back, you'll have 200% increased experience. I think it might just be from kills, but it might be quest too. But it increases the speed. However, it's not like the best stuff in the world. Like, it doesn't last long. If you have heirlooms, though, I believe, yeah, rested experience consumed is reduced by 30%, and I think there's 2 of those. Yeah. So that's like a 60% reduction in rested experience used, so you get a lot more. Another nice thing about the heirlooms, when you level, you grants you 40% intellect for 2 minutes. However, it also, when you ding, it also does like a pretty sizable burst of damage. So that's pretty nice. I've had that save me a lot. Increases out of combat regen and stuff like that. Just some little stuff. It's nice. If you plan to level a lot of tunes, I would at least get stuff 1 to 60 probably. I wouldn't probably mess with DragonFlight because I find the newest content stuff does not really need to have heirlooms for. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed. My next video will be 20 to 25 probably. That's what I was thinking. However, if I have issues with dungeons like I did last time, I might have to shorten it. But till next time.